What do we have here? The beautiful presence. Yes, P-R-E-N-C-E. Yeah, Denise and Ty are here with us, and we invite you to stand as we sing together our opening song, Grateful.
Everything. Turn to the person next to you and say, "You are the gift." And indeed you are. Thank you so much for being with us on this Christmas Eve day. There are certain people who are striving for all kinds of things in their personal life, and some things that they strive for just need to be celebrated openly. How many of you have ever been in boot camp before? You remember what boot camp was like? Well, we have a boot camp graduate who is now officially a Navy man. Max Porter, come on up so we can give you a round of applause. Congratulations!
Thank you.
Give him a round of applause. I'm glad you survived. Yeah, good deal. Thank you for being here. Yes. We have our own boot camp around here at Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. And here's our drill sergeant, David Aurelio.
Good morning. I wondered what was going to happen there. Welcome to the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. Merry Christmas to everyone. And we're just going to get right into it. So those that are joining us for the very first time today, we are a center. We are a spiritual community that empowers the seeker to uncover their divine purpose. And what we do is we educate and engage that seeker in so many different ways to embrace this ever-evolving world. And so we do so in so many different ways, and this community is stellar at making stuff happen. And I'm going to tell you exactly how stellar they are. So first and foremost, let's talk about some giving tree results, because all of you that took the ornaments off the tree, those of you that are new, we had a giving tree where different ornaments from different charities were out there. Within 1 week's time, this is the first time in every year, in all the years we've done it, that the ornaments were gone in the first week. So first week, we took the ornaments off the tree. I want to tell you who you touched. We reached 60 seniors, veterans, and hero, that's children with HIV and AIDS. You made their Christmas amazing, so thank you for that. In addition, 10 United Way families received gifts from you, so thank you for that. And Families First of Atlanta, 32 families. And when I say 32 families, that means that's obviously more than one person in that group. So 32 families were touched by this community. So well over 102 different gifts were given. So again, thank you for that. Now, food drive. I think well over 200 pounds of food have been taken over to Toco Hills Community Alliance. So thank you for that. We're not collecting any more food right now, but we are collecting coats. So Phoebe Leva has been collecting coats. We have collected over 70 coats so far. The goal was 100 coats. So we're going to be collecting coats through next Sunday. So if you have a coat, please bring it. We're not open. The center is not open next week, so don't drive up here unnecessarily. But bring it next Sunday, and we'll be happy to take that coat for you. So thank you again for your giving hearts. Again, you're making a difference in the Atlanta community. First quarter classes are out there. Again, Dr. Fernand, stand up, because Dr. Fernand Poulin is there. He has an integrative energy class. If those of you that have taken it in the past, he's offering a different class this year on Wednesday nights. Gene Bell is going to be teaching Power of Your Word. Gene, stand up. Al Shellman, is he here? Al Shellman is going to be teaching it. Gene's teaching in that in the mornings. Al's teaching it, in the evenings. Al's teaching it with Reverend Avon in the morning. Is Reverend Avon here? She's not here. Well, anyway, she'll be at class. Don't worry about that. But anyways, please check out the brochures out there for all the classes coming up. We've got classes starting as early as January 4th. So we just want to make sure that you've got time to get your books and get everything organized. Again, we're not selling the books in the bookstore because we're getting ready to make that transition. So with that, you can go to Amazon Smile. And if you sign up with Amazon Smile, anytime you do shopping through Amazon, a percentage of that goes to a charity that you select. And of course, you're going to select SLCA. And that's how quickly that works. So that's how you're going to get your books this year. So please get ready for class. So next week, big Sunday. So yes, it's New Year's Eve, so that's big. But it's also Burning Bowl and the White Stone Ceremony. This is probably one of the most heavily attended services that we do. So I just want to remind you of something. In addition to that, it's also Global Peace Meditation. So that's the time of year where we have meditation with everyone around the globe and focus our intention on global peace. So special structure for next week. So we're going to have no regular meditation and no adult study. So at 9:45 in this room, we will do global peace meditation. So those of you that want to do that, you don't have to do it. I'm just saying if you want to join us for that, 9:45 to 10:15. And then we'll take a quick break and then 10:30 service as normal. So I tell you that, so if you're not coming for meditation, please be respectful of those that are in here for meditation. Because we can't have you loud and walking in and throwing coats down and all that stuff. We will be in meditation. So you'll just stay out and hang in the hallway until it's time to come in. So hopefully you'll join us for that. There's no youth program today and no youth program next week. They're on hiatus until after the first of the year, so I love it. We got some of the kids in the service, so that's great. And they look fantastic, all ready for Santa. So we'll just know that that's happening. So Mind Launch for Pledgers, that is the intention setting seminar that we do every year. This is a Mind Launch with Dr. Ault, and that's going to be on the 13th of January. So please, 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 if you have not RSVP'd to me, this is a lunch that we cater. So as you've been to it before, it's a pretty big spread. So I need your RSVP because I got to cut that off soon. So please, there is a sign-up sheet in the lobby. If you have not RSVP'd to me via email, you can sign up here to make it easy for you. So please do that if you can. And then also the conversation about race, that's going to be on January 21st. I just want to make sure that's in your minds because that's something we had a great turnout the last time, and I know you're excited about it again. So if you are interested in joining the Board of Trustees, we announced last week Donna McCauley is going to be overseeing that for the board. If you are interested, there are applications out there and a sign-in sheet. So if you can see me out there, and Donna's back there. So Donna will be out there. You can ask her any quick questions, or you can sign in the sheets, and she'll get a hold of you via phone anyways. But please figure out a way you can make your way to Donna and get any of your questions answered. Is there anybody joining us for the very first time today? First-time visitors, raise your hands. I gotta find you. I got gifts for you. It's Christmas. Stand up so I can get you. Stand up, stand up, stand up. So ushers are trying to find you, so we can find you quickly. There you go. Welcome to each and every one of you. So everybody keep standing till you get your CD. It's empty. How about that? Well, anyways, take that to the welcome and visitors table, and you will get a CD of Dr. Ault's selected especially for you, and we're so thrilled you're here with us on this holiday weekend. Just a reminder again, the center will be closed tomorrow through the end of the week. We'll reopen next Sunday when we're here for the Burning Bowl. So again, don't look for us next week. We ain't here. So now you're probably wondering on those beautiful packages right here. So we have a special gift, a gift from all of us to all of you. So we thought we'd do that. So Linda Schmar, please join me up here if you would. Ladies and gentlemen, our new home is official. So I will let you see this. This will be out in the hallway. You can see some images of the front of the building here. The address is 3107. I'm telling you right now, 3107 Claremont Road. It's right around the corner. And if you're a numerology person, that number's good. And we're in Suite A for abundance. Or Ault, or Aurelio, whichever you want to do. Whichever you want. So again, take a peek at this. This will be up for the coming weeks. I want you to see it. It's got a rendering. You'll see there's two entrances to the auditorium area or the meeting space, which will seat 400 people. We've got shared restrooms. We won't have restrooms in our space. We'll share it with another suite over there, but nobody's there on Sunday, so you can take over. And then you go down this hallway. We've got offices. We've got classrooms over here. Plenty of room for the kids. So, again, welcome home, everyone. So I will say, I'm not going to get into details about it because I will do this when we start into the new year, but we will be having volunteers meet with me. Gigi has stepped forward to help us with inventory of stuff that goes. Let me just tell you, not everything that's here is going. I mean, we're going, but I mean, that we're not taking all this stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's got to get cleared out of here. We will be having a huge sale in February. We're going to get rid of it, and then we'll take everything we need to make this amazing move. So I tell you that because lots of stuff coming up, and I tell you that because God bless whoever left 4 bags of women's clothing on the over the weekend up here, and I thank you. I took it to Goodwill. But we're not collecting women's clothes, and please don't bring any more stuff here because we're trying to get cleared out of here. All right. I'm sorry? Yes, and also George, stand up. Where is he? Jay did this. Jay has been helping us with the renderings for this. He did this for us today, and he's also helping us get the space ready for construction. So thank you. Awesome. Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a great day and a blessed week and a beautiful holiday.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Linda and Jay. Everybody, please stand with your programs. On the inside is our Declaration of Principle. If you are visiting with us for the first time, know that this is the foundational truths of our philosophy. If you are a seasoned veteran of these principles, I invite you to look at them and to recite them with a pure intent in beginner's mind. Together, I believe in one God, one absolute power and first cause to all things. I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love. I believe that all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience. I believe in the unity of all life and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all. Please remain standing. On the inside is December song of the month, Sacred One.
You are the sacred ones in the sacred time, no beginning and no end. Holding up the light for all to see, heart and mind now freely blend. Fully honoring the gifts you bring to a world that now believes. You are the sacred one in the sacred time. Welcome home, my sacred friend. I am the sacred one. I am the sacred one in this sacred time. No beginning and no end. Holding up the light for all to see, heart and mind now freely blend. Fully honoring the gifts I bring to a world that now believes. I am the sacred one in the sacred time. Welcome home, my sacred friend. You are the sacred ones in this sacred time. No beginning and no end. Holding up the light for all to see, heart and mind now freely blend. Fully honoring the gifts we bring to a world that now believes. We are the sacred ones in this sacred time. Welcome home, my sacred friend. Welcome home. Welcome home, my sacred friend. Welcome home. Welcome home, my sacred friend.
Please turn to those around you and say good morning and Merry Christmas. my goodness. All right, to the best of your ability, give yourself a little elbow room. Say, I love you, but move over. And let us start to take some deep breaths, and let's take all of the sentiment, all of the joy, all of the energy that is contained within this room and draw it inward into our hearts. Let us allow that heart, the portal of that space where all beginning is, to be fully open. And let us move into our sacred contemplative time, our affirmative prayer this morning, led by our practitioner, Janet Riley.
Thank you, Reverend David. I feel a great honor and privilege to be the practitioner this morning on Christmas Eve. Because in addition to it being Christmas Eve, it is also the third birthday of Adeline Marie, who is my great-granddaughter. And before I do my treatment this morning, I'd like to share something that I've recently witnessed on Addie's journey, and it was a great reminder for me. Sometimes she gets unhappy, and whatever the cause, she's being taught that it's okay that she's unhappy, but she must be unhappy alone in her room. And she's told, you may walk or I'll carry you, but you're going to your room. And what I witnessed was she went to the room, and she's very loud because she's not happy. But in a minute or two, not even 3 whole minutes go by, it gets quiet, and she comes out of her room, and she's smiling, and she says, I'm finished crying. Now, I don't know about you, but I have times when I'm not happy. And this has been a beautiful reminder for me, watching her little tiny journey thus far. She already knows it's okay that I'm not happy right now. But what's not okay is that I get to blame anybody or involve anybody in my unhappy moment. That I can go wherever I need to go and take care of that feeling. And when I'm smiling again, then I can come be with you. So with this lesson I've relearned, I'm going to now offer spiritual mind treatment, also called affirmative prayer. And I invite you to take a good deep breath and make sure your feet are flat on the floor and you're comfortable in your chair. And right now in this moment, this is all that exists, is this moment. I will say this in first person and invite you to take as much or as little you feel resonates with the truth for you. I know there is only now. There is only one life. And I know I am a unique, individualized expression of this one life. One power, one presence, one intelligence I call God. I am that, expressing in this moment, in this human manifestation. I know that I have back of me all the wisdom, all the guidance I could ever need on this beautiful journey of this life I have the privilege and honor to live. I know that every cell of my body responds to healing, loving kindness and the care I show. I know that I can always choose to allow my words to be kind, and the light that is the truth of me shine from my eyes. I am so grateful to know this and to understand the sacred significance of my journey. And I am grateful for this center and for the teachings and the principles that I take with me when I leave here. And I live my days with gratitude for the joy and the peace and the harmony that is available to me simply by choosing. I am grateful to have this beautiful, loving community with whom to share and to celebrate these special days. And with gratitude for knowing that universal law has already made all of this true, I release it and ask you to join me in saying, and so it is.
I don't care if the house is packed or the strings of light are broken. I don't care if the gifts are wrapped or there's nothing here to open. Love is not a toy, and no paper can conceal it. Love is simply joy that I know.
I don't care if the carpet's stained, we've got food upon our table. I don't care if it's gonna rain, our little room is warm and stable. Love is who we are, and no paper
Nothing will stop it. Hey.
Love is who we are. For that we sing
leaves you haunted.
All you need is your best, my love. All anyone ever wanted. Love is how we do, and no judgment overrule it. Love, I look to you, and I see. We sing, let love lead us. Love is Christmas. Let love lead us. Love is Christmas.
Denise Pridgeon and Ty Andrews.
Thank you, and welcome. Welcome to one of a minister's nightmares. And that is a holiday where every year they have to come up with something new for the same story that they've been telling for many, many years. But it's one that I readily accept, because that is actually what we are built upon as a species, is storytelling. We have told stories, handed down myths. It has become a part of our lifeline. It has been the way in which we taught. In fact, the master teacher, Jesus, knew that the only real, true, fundamental way to reach the masses was through the telling of parable. And so when we look at that and we look at this classic Christmas story, we are reminded that storytelling isn't bound by one particular religion. And that this particular story, the story of this immaculate birth, is a story that is found in Egyptian mythology and Greek mythology and Zoroastrianism. So you realize that the Christians did not have carte blanche on the virgin birth. And so when we look at that, we understand the power that is contained within the repetitive nature of these stories that are widespread throughout all of humanity. And why is that so? Why have they become so readily adopted in different cultures and different myths? It's because at the core of all of these stories is a truth universal, a truth that is not just segregated for a few, but is universal and applicable to all of us. So it humbles us in a way, if we really stop to honor the storytelling, that the story of this purity, this light that emanated and came into the world, that was heralded for its power, for its glory, is your story. And it takes something of us to be able to set aside all of the veils of illusion that we have attached around ourselves, to remember that what we are celebrating is actually the purity of our own essential self. And so it was Benjamin Franklin who said, "Tell me, and I forget. Teach me, and I remember. Involve me, and I learn." And part of storytelling and part of our remembering is about our involving ourselves in the quest of enlightenment. It isn't enough to study the books. It isn't enough to be an intellectual master. What you and I are here to do is be involved in the process of ourselves in the remembrance. And so what if the greatest gift that you and I can give at this season is the gift of remembrance? remembrance. Remembering who you are. How many of you have been told to remember who you are? So the origin of the word remember, in fact, if you dismember the word remember, you get this member, right? In the Latin origin, memoir means meaning or mindful. To be mindful, to bring meaning to one's life. You are a part of a membership that we are all sailing. Did you see what I just did there? Membership that we are a part of, right? And sometimes we go overboard. And that would be sometimes there's a mutiny. But to remember means that we get on board. We are back in alignment with what is our true nature and our true cause. And that's what any good story is all about, is to help you and I remember, to go back to a place of mindfulness. It is the greatest gift. And to remember is to bring something back in consciousness. So as we look at this birth, I want you to know that it is the birth of self. The birth of self. And so self, when we look at that, the S of that self simply means the singular existence, the macrocosm. What does it mean to you to understand that you are the micro element of a macrocosm? I said last week that perhaps you would be better suited in not saying that God is in you, but that you are in and absorbed by that which is God. Do you understand and get the totality of that? It doesn't matter then how you gauge yourself. It doesn't matter the self-judgments that are there or the judgments from other people. What matters in the remembering is that you are absorbed in all intelligence, all power, and all purity. You are absorbed in that. And when you are absorbed, there is no part of you that is outside that singular existence. So you and I sometimes could consider ourselves the small s in the capital self, the capital S of self. And one of the great opportunities for us at this time of the year is to go back to the singular existence. And there's something very powerful and something very responsible about that awareness, and that is that we look at the world, as we look at the us and them veil of illusion that is there, we must remember that what we think about, what we broadcast, and what we project upon other people is also a part of this singular existence within us. And we are to remember then that condemnation, that finger pointing, that old example that as I point that there are three other digits that are pointing back at me. That we are to humble ourselves in the remembrance that what I am condemning, I am. But also what I am praising, I am. And thus becomes the impetus or the nucleus or the genesis, the primordial seed of healing and of power, is when I can look at all of humanity through the lens of compassion. That does not mean that I look and I condone or I accept marginalization as a gift, but I look and I can begin to understand it. I can look at the acts of other people and I can say, there but for the grace of God go I. Because I can think about my journey. And I know that as these children crying, they're crying because they know this already. Because the purity of what they are is they're like, good God, adults, come on, remember. We know this. And you see, it's us who've grown a little this way and this way. We're the ones who forget the most. Because we've been exposed readily to this illusion, to the false idea of a dualistic world, when in reality there is only one singular existence. How can we apply this? What could we do in order to promote conscious remembrance and healing for ourselves? One of the ways is to tangibly, in the art and craft of storytelling, to begin to tell a story on paper through your own hand and begin to write and say, I forgive myself. I forgive this particular person. I do these things. There's no accident that the metaphor in Scripture said that we do this 70 times 7. 70 times 7 is simply an allegory that means that you and I never stop doing that. We will have writer's cramp as we go and we begin to forgive not only ourselves, but everyone else that we hold in judgment. Because as we do, as the story literally comes out of our hand, as we tell the story of forgiveness, we begin to free ourselves and remember. We go back to the membership of this singular existence because we are doing the assignment and the work that we are called to do. The E of self, to me, stands for energy. It is the thing that was born in that manger, the energy, the essence of what we are. Probably the greatest fallacy that you and I believe in is that we are this, that we are a body, that we are finite, when in fact what we are is energy. Think of yourselves right now as energy. In fact, look at your own hands, and as you look at your hands, you see form. But the reality is that what this is before you is just an extension of a vibration that is going at such a high rate of speed that you and I can't see it. That's what you are. You are energy in form. Some of the greatest wisdom ever brought to us was through Albert Einstein that said, now this energy that you and I are cannot be created nor destroyed, which means that it is what? Eternal. No beginning and no end. We're the sacred one, no beginning and no end, because we are energy. And the beautiful thing about energy not being able to be destroyed and the fact that we are this means that the concept of a birth and a death are human concepts. And yet we use these concepts through storytelling in order to show the other side of that. We talk about a crucifixion and a resurrection. We talk about a divine birth, not because of its reality, but because they are states of consciousness. That there are things that are dying in our mind, and that are things that are being reborn as we remember in mind. What would it be like if you were free from the concern and the worry about what will happen to you? If you were free of that because what you fundamentally understand is that you are energy. And energy, my friend, can be directed. And energy is directed how? Through thought, through mind, through the use of our consciousness. When we remember this, we become liberated. We become active. I want you to think of a new form of activism. In fact, the great writer Alice Walker said that activism is the rent that I pay for living on this planet. But I want to say spiritual activism or consciousness is what you and I are tasked with in terms of walking in this human existence, in this particular skin suit, in this space-time continuum. You are not here to just simply take up space. You are here to use the energy and the vibration of what you are in order to bring remembrance to the rest of those who are asleep. You and I are the Christ child birth, the consciousness waiting in recognition for that particular level of power. And as we celebrate that, there are renewals and rebirths that are happening in our life all of the time. I loved what Janet shared during the opening prayer about her great-granddaughter. Because the beauty of that is a divine example of forgetting and remembering. And what if there are only two activities that are ever taking place? The activity of forgetting and the activity of remembering. So when we remember the S of the singular existence, and when we remember that we are energy, then how would you think about your own being? How would you look upon yourself? And how would you begin in this moment to create a renewal about your work in the world? If I'm energy, if that's really what I am, a mass, a bundle of energy, then what can I begin to do in this moment to free myself from the veils of illusion that I am marginalized, that I am victimized, that I am oppressed, that I am a product of my environment, when in reality, that's just the way that I've been directing myself, my energy, up until this point in time. The greatest gift of activism, the rent that we pay by being in this form, is to be able to live in what our month's theme was, integrity. Integrity isn't just external actions. Integrity is full alignment with remembering of who and what you are. The L of self, to me, is light. One of the greatest gifts that we've been given in terms of remembrance is found in the book of Matthew when it says, you are the light of the world. Not just the light of Chambly or Buckhead. Not just the light of a marginalized geographical area. You are the light of what? Where would such a statement come from, if not from the divine storytelling of universal intelligence? The parable that would say, you are the light of the world. Do you get the declarative nature of that? You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. It goes on to say, a town built on a hill cannot be hidden. You and I are that town. We are built foundationally upon the highest emanation of source. And isn't it amazing the amount of energy that we use to hide that? When, point of fact, what you are cannot be hidden. So I want you to think about wasted energy, of fatigue, of the way in which sometimes we, quote, quote, burn out. But the reality is that there is no burning out of the light. There is only the veils of illusion that get in the way. Because you are the light of the world. You are a town built on a hill which cannot be hidden. In that book of Matthew, it goes on to say, neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl, unless it's one of those fancy luminaire things that you put on your sidewalk. Instead, they put it on a stand. You know, what's the purpose of a candle if to not illuminate? What's the purpose of that star in the sky if but not to illuminate? And it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and that they may glorify that source, which is the part of heavenly consciousness. Do you see the mandate by which you and I have been called to live? To be respectful and in integrity of the energy and the composition of what we are. Because this is what we got. This is what we get to use. And we have the opportunity right now to stop bemoaning the gift that is ours and begin to use it deliberately to understand the light and the energy of what it is that we are. And so my gift to you this morning is the F of self, and it stands for focus. I want you to focus. Next week, you are invited to our annual Burning Bowl ceremony. Several years ago, we added an extra component to it, and it's called the White Stone Ceremony, and everybody gets a white stone. It has an origin whereby you are building something. This stone is the building block, the cornerstone of the consciousness or the word by which you want to intend your life to be lived from in the coming year. Sometimes people don't really come understanding or knowing that we're going to do that, so they just pick a word. But today, I want to give you a week's warning that I want you to sit and begin to contemplate what is your word. To begin to understand the intentionality of that. I will already tell you my word is focus. I'll tell you why my word is focus. Because my experience and my dismembering comes from being scattered by all of the energies that are pulling elsewhere. By not directing my energy sufficiently enough and staying focused on what it is mine to do. Of being pulled and swayed by all of the tactical maneuvering of fear. And focus for me is simply going back to the original story, the storytelling of the singular existence and my privilege of life. And so focus is very much a part of our philosophy. I want to give you a little a teaser of something that you can do. In the early 1900s, there was a pamphlet, a little pamphlet, and it was an anonymous pamphlet. Don't you like that word, pamphlet? Just a few pages. It wasn't a big book. And in this pamphlet, well, the title of it is, It Works. That's the title of the pamphlet. In fact, if you go on Amazon and you have a Kindle, it's $1.99, and it's called It Works, the famous little red book. In the early 1900s, when there was a burgeoning resurgence of this philosophy with regards to prosperity consciousness, this little pamphlet was duplicated and bought in bulk and passed out to millions of people. And it's still anonymous. And it's one of the most favorite things of our particular philosophy that I still hold near and dear. So I went back and I looked at the little pamphlet, It Works. And the focus of it is what's so beautiful, because it says this doesn't need to be a really long book. Because the principles of what we're about are simple. The gift is in the simplicity. And it said, here are the 3 positive rules of accomplishment that you need in order to be in alignment. In alignment with self, in alignment with energy, and in alignment with light. And it is encapsulated by focus, and they are this. You must get really clear about what you want. Now you go, what's new about that? Well, let me just show you how unfocused we become. How many of you actually sit down with your friends and your family and you go, let me tell you about what I really want? And you speak of it from earnestness. I will tell you that most of us sit and we talk about what we don't want. Most of us sit down and converse from a platform of complaint. Most of us communicate and direct our energy towards what we are not wanting. But to actually sit and become consumed by what you earnestly want is the first positive rule of accomplishment. To sit down and say, what do I want my life to look like? You see, when the Christ child was born, the prototype of that, when you were born to prove a principle of energy and light and illumination. That's the reason that we're here. That's the reason for being. We are here to prove this through our own persona and to carefully devise and craft and refine over and over and over again what is our heart's desire and calling. So remember this. Number 1, get clear, get earnest about what you want. Notice the illusions that are already popping up. Some of you are saying, Oh, that's so tired, David. Some of you are saying, I'm too old. Some of you are saying, you don't understand the kind of year I have. Some of you are saying, you don't know what our administration just voted on. How can I have what I want in earnest? Some of you are coming up with a litany of excuses when in reality you are what? You are energy with the ability to be specifically directed. So get clear about what it is that you want. The second thing, focus. You consume it morning, noon, and night. Consume it morning, noon, and night. You write it down, you read it, you look at it, you treat, affirm upon it. You speak to yourself about it. You contemplate and meditate upon it. You set your sights on that thing. But probably one of the most important things is step number 3. Tell no one of what you're doing. But what about Facebook? Tell no one of what you're doing. Why? Because the moment that we do, the disbursement of that energy goes out, and it gives the opportunity for all of that which is hidden subjectively inside of that to be mirrored to us. What do I mean? That which is subjectively hidden inside of us, the warehouse of all thought, all past failings are there that want to come and tell you, are you crazy? They will be emanated by caring members of your family. They will be presented to you by loving spouses who only want the best for you and don't want you to make a fool out of yourself. Tell no one. Spend the time that you would in telling other people your plans in contemplating and visualizing the truth of what you are. Hold it near and dear and sacred to you. And as we embrace and understand these 4 things, the self, the singular existence, the directive energy which has limited possibility, the light that you and I are the light of the world, and as we encapsulate it in the energy of focus, then the story of that which brings salvation to a world, which simply means that brings remembrance to a world that has forgotten, becomes your story. And we look at this month of December's theme of integrity, and you and I, in all authenticity, can say, I am that. I am that. So I want you to know and to celebrate the fact that you are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. Say that with me. I am the light of the world. Again, I am the light of the world. How does that feel? Illuminating. Wrote a song about it? Want to hear it? Here it goes.
Light of the world. You are the light, light, light. You are the light.
Sing it with us.
You are the light, light, light. You are the light, light of the world. You are the light, light, light.
I am the light.
I am the light, light, light. I am the light, light of the world. I am the light, light, light. I am the light, light. We are the light. We are the light.
Yes, we are. Oh,
we are the light, light of the world.
We are
the light. We are the light. We are.
on, Denise.
We are the light of the world, and we are the light of the world. We are the light, light, stand up, everybody. Light of the world.
Light.
Light, light.
We are the light of the
We
world.
are the light.
We are the light.
Yes, we are. Oh.
The light of the world. We are the light. We are the light.
Come on, Tyler. Here you go.
The light of the world. We are the light. If you are the light, then put up your hands. If you are the light, then you shine, shine, shine.
Light, light. We are
Yeah,
the light. Light of the world. We are the light.
The light,
Light.
the
We are
light. Hey, hey, hey.
We are the light. We are the light. We are the light of the world. The light. We are the light. We are the light. We are the light of the world. The light. We are the light. We are the light. We are the light of the world. The light. We are the light. We are the light. We are the light. You are the light, the light, the light. You are the light, light of the world. You are the light, light, light. You are the light, light of the world. You are the light, light, light. You are the light, light of the world. You are the light, light, light. You are the light, light of the world.
Dr. David Ault, Denise, Ty, and the house band.
Thank you so much for being with us on this Christmas Eve. Oh, I'm out of breath. Okay. So I want to ask those actually who are not our pledgers to consider this morning that maybe perhaps you might want to support this ministry in a new and expanded way as we get prepared to move. There are lots of things that are afforded us that are outside the realm of some of our immediate budgetary needs, like a new sound system and guess what? Screens and all of those kinds of things that are going to eliminate paper and other things. And so we want to ask you today, before we finish in 7 days and the 2017 budget, if you might be able to help us carry over in being able to give whatever it is that you feel led to give today, so that it can be notated in this year's budget. So that just means that be generous today. That's what I was saying. Direct your energy towards us. Let us move across this finish line of 2017 with gangbusters. At this time, I want to call our ushers to come and to be ready for that. As you take your gifts in your hand, as you take your pledge card and you place it over your heart, take some deep breaths. Acknowledge the self that you are. And let us say our affirmation for grateful giving together. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow. And all that I share with life returns to me, multiplied abundantly, and so it is. I hope that this morning you will give yourself the gift of prayer. Look at these amazing practitioners. So before you travel off and you get all involved with all of the great stuff that you have before you this holiday season, pause for a moment. Allow consciousness to ground you, to remind you of self, that your singular, existent, energy, illuminated, focused self is ready to shine for this Christmas. Let one of these fantastic individuals do that. I invite you to stand with me. Let us sing our closing song together.
I am so